My Hero Academia fans, specifically those who ship Izuku, Deku, Midoriya, and Ochako Uraraka, congratulations, celebrate, have fun, scream to the goddamn skies, because finally we have conclusive evidence, conclusive, confirmation from the author of My Hero Academia, Horikoshi, that you guys have won the great shipping war of My Hero Academia. That's right. So a lot of people were highly upset of the final chapter of My Hero Academia when it was first released because essentially no ship was confirmed. It literally just was left with an open ending, and everyone was just like, no, why? Open endings usually don't bode well for shippers, because while there are some shippers who are like, I'll accept that, others will be like, no, I need it. I need to know who becomes canon. Give me my ship. Gah! There are two types of people, two types of shippers who react differently to the ending of their favorite manga or a manga that they have a ship with. And essentially, it was left with an open ending. However, before the final volume came out, we were told that there will be 30 plus pages of extra content in the final volume, mostly because, the final volume only had like 6 chapters, where it usually, for any manga, especially from Shonen Jump, there's usually around 8 chapters or like 200 pages of content with each volume. My Hero Academia, the final volume, was not going to get 200 pages, so they added extra pages that, Horikoshi himself drew and wrote for the final volume. And in this final volume, I am, glad to say to those who ship Izuocha, Izuku and Ochako, that there is an epilogue. And in that epilogue essentially has confirmation, or, the strong grip of love, that Izuku and Ochako do confess their feelings for each other, or at least, Horikoshi confirms them as canon. Now, while I cannot show you images because it is still a product that hasn't necessarily been released, in English, and as well as more than likely copyright reasons that I cannot show you, there have been people who have reported that one of the final chapters, or one of the final pages, I should say, has confirmation that Izuku and Ochako do kind of have a really big moment that kind of confirms their ship. Now, I say kind of because it's not explicitly said, or they confess their love for each other, but it's pretty clear from the images that are circling around on the internet that it does seem that they are confirmed. And there's also a small translation. It hasn't been fully translated yet, but someone has translated a portion of that epilogue to showcase exactly what is being said in that final volume. So here is a translation of exactly what happens in the epilogue chapter between Izuku and Ochako. This is a synopsis of what is shown in the chapter, with some translation of it. Again, I cannot show you the panels, but you could definitely find them online if you look for them. You could definitely find it on x.com. They're definitely on there. But let's take a look at what exactly happens in this epilogue. One of the main points of the chapter is that Ochako and Deku kept doing things for the sake of others in spite of themselves. That's very in character for them. Ochako was also feeling guilty about living the life she wanted because Toga never got that. That's why she keeps dreaming about her frequently. For those who ship Ochako and Toga, you have something. You have a little bit of it, So be happy with that. But what happens later on may hurt you a little bit more. But, if you are a Ochako Toga shipper, you might actually enjoy that, right? But by talking to Tsuyu, in Ochako's case, and Bakugo and Deku's, which also hurts Baku Deku, they start to realize what they're feeling. In the final pages, Ochako regrets not being able to talk to Deku during Class A's dinner, but just as she was thinking that, Deku goes running towards her. He says he respects everyone and thinks everyone's special, but today he wanted to talk to Ochako a bit more. Aww, he can be romantic even though he's an awkward teenage boy. I believe this is like during their high school graduation. And he wants to keep talking to her more from now on. Ochako remembers her dream and Toga tells her that she lived the way she wanted, so Ochako should do the same. The chapter ends with Ochako saying that they were thinking the same thing, both of them blush and hold hands. The end. Now, the hand holding, if you saw previously in my, just a couple minutes ago, it wasn't like this, you know, like the classic hand holding romantic gesture. It was more like, yeah, like bro, like yeah, that kind of thing. Now, it's not necessarily romantic the way it was presented like this, right? But at the same time, you know, based off of this, it does seem like they are essentially going to live their lives the way they wanted to, and essentially also become, you know, get closer in a sense. And the fact that they blush, they talk about, Toga talks about like pushing her Ochako to, you know, go with her feelings and let her live her life the way she wanted. It essentially confirms that yes, Horikoshi decided on making IzuOchako, you know, canon. And you know, the shipping war My Hero Academia has been very brutal over many years, specifically towards the ending of the story, and a lot of people had many different feelings of like which ship should be canon. You have Bakudeku, you have Izuku and Ochako, you had Ochako and Toga, and so on and so forth. And there's been such a big conflict over that when the open ending happened, people felt a little unsatisfied, right? That there was no ship confirmed. So it does present a really tough thing for Horikoshi to do, but he managed to successfully do something in the epilogue that showcases at least what appears to be, you know, confirmation that he chose Izuku and Ochako as the canon pairing. It's something that, you know, unless you have a certain bias for a ship, you could kind of see it in the story, you know, that Horikoshi was aiming for that from the very beginning with the way, you know, they introduced both of them, with the way Ochako developed feelings for Izuku, and then Izuku always had like this crush on Ochako because he's an awkward teenage boy who, you know, struggled with like, you know, just being next to a girl. So he had also had feelings for Ochako, and it's nice to see that at least based off what was in the epilogue chapter, that it seems like, you know, they are confirmed in some sort of capacity. We don't know exactly how they start dating. We don't know exactly, you know, see anything like that, like a kiss or anything like that. But based on the context surrounding this event that happens in the final chapter, and I'm talking about before, during, and after, it seems like he made this perfectly clear that he decided to choose them. And for those who are, you know, shippers of Bakudeku or Ochako Toga, at least with Ochako Toga you got something. But the fact that Bakugo spoke to Deku to essentially realize what he's feeling towards Ochako, it kind of just puts a stake into the Bakudeku ship, unfortunately. However, this does not mean at all that you can't continue shipping Bakudeku or, you know, Toga and Ochako. You don't have to stop. You just have to essentially accept what the author's decision is. You could disagree with it, you could criticize the writing, you could criticize, you know, why you felt like, you know, that ship shouldn't have become canon, but at the end of the day, just, you know, accept who the author has chosen. You may not like it, it may disappoint you because you've been shipping them for a very long time, but at the end of the day, it's you'll be fine. It's okay. Yes, I know you spent a long time shipping your ship that didn't essentially become canon based off this, but understand that there's a lot more series out there. There's a lot more things in life than just focusing on a ship. I understand that it's very hard. I have taken L's my entire life as a shipper for 20 fucking years. I've taken L's after L's. Some of them have hurt me way more than others, but at the same time, you can move on. You can find another series, ship new characters, and have fun. That's the main point. You know, always to have fun. But if you are an Izuku Ochako shipper, congratulations. You have won the shipping war, and Horikoshi has decided that Izuku Ochako is the ship that essentially is between these two characters. And, you know, I preferred Izuku Ochako a lot. and I'm glad I was able to get confirmation about this. I know there will be some people who will debate and argue that this isn't really a confirmation, but again, if you look at the context about Tsuyu and Bakugo talking about what both of them are feeling, then you have them, you know, you have Izuku running towards her, and then you have, you know, Toga pushing Ochako to, you know, keep living her life. You see them push together, blushing, if you've seen the panels, right? It basically, there's no other way to describe that as just confirmation for the ship. I get it, you're gonna argue and you're gonna debate, and that's perfectly fine. You could have those arguments and debates. Just be, you know, very, just don't be someone who is like being mean, harassing others, and just, you know, just have a normal conversation about it. I know that's very hard, but at the end of the day, I think whatever Horikoshi has decided, I think most people will accept. I accept it. Well, granted, I accept it because I get a W, but regardless, you can still ship Bakudeku, you can still ship Ochaka, Toga, and you can continue shipping whoever you wish. In terms of other ships, I have not seen the full epilogue, so I cannot confirm or determine or tell you guys what other ships were confirmed. But for the most part, at least for Ochako and Deku, they have been confirmed by Horikoshi in a manner that really, you know, aside from the handshake, everything else, the context around everything else around this particular sequence between these two seems to have confirmed it. So, yeah, so congratulations to Izuku and Ochako shippers. You know, and I'll talk about the shipping community in My Hero Academia pretty soon in a shipping in video, so hopefully you can tune in for that. But overall, yay! Thank you so much for watching. Celebrate if you're an Izuku Ochako shipper, and I'll see you guys next time.